watching the News Hour at 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, for days on end, a certain section of the society refused to believe that there was an assassination plot against the Prime Minister. This despite evidence procured from the house and from the hard disks of the computers of alleged urban Maoists collected by the Pune police, on the basis of which subsequent arrests were made. On the case tonight, I will give you details of the 5,000-page charge sheet that will force this lobby to eat humble pie. The charge sheet filed by Pune cops cites a letter written by Comrade R to Comrade Prakash on the 18th of April 2017. Remember, Comrade R here refers to Rona Wilson as per what the Pune police has deciphered, who is a member of the banned outfit called CPI Maoist. The letter clearly mentions the need to take concrete steps to end Modi Raj and the democratic setup in India. Ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully. Assassinated a completely popularly elected Prime Minister to end democracy so that there can be an alternative form of government. This is a diabolical plot, ladies and gentlemen, to end democracy in this country. So it's not just about the assassination of the Prime Minister, it's also about subverting democracy in India. And because the plotters allegedly believed the government was Brahmanical, that targeted the minorities, primarily the Dalits, this change was required. In fact, the plotters then go on to specify that they must carry out a Rajiv Gandhi type assassination to end Narendra Modi's rule in India. The plotters also openly talk of creating animosity against the NDA regime by consolidating their ties with like-minded parties. Now, all of this and much more has been mentioned in the charge sheet that Times Now has accessed, exposing the diabolical plot that these alleged Maoists had made. And before I get into further details, here's another breaking input that will silence the Maoist lobby. Listen in to the Pune Police Commissioner. Times Now has spoken to the Pune Police Commissioner post the filing of the charge sheet, and what he says will once again make the Maoist lobby uncomfortable. Listen in to the Pune Police Commissioner.
Venkatesham sir, today's charge sheet has been filed in the courts. What details you have to share? It is 5,160 pages charge sheet.
So today our investigation officer has filed the charge sheet in the UAPA court in Pune against 10 people, out of which 5 are arrested and 5 are underground.
Okay. Sir, if you can tell us that there was a plot to assassinate Prime Minister, there was a letter, sir. What sections have?
So all the details will come out. It is 4-5 counts are there. So they were supporting the banned organization and funding the banned organization. They were members of the organization. And there was plan of assaulting lawful authority. These were the main charges.
Okay. Venkatesham sir, one very important question is that this time in Chhattisgarh election also Prime Minister had spoken about the urban Maoists.
So we have charge sheeted, so you will find more details.
Okay.
And my colleague Siddhant joins me live, as does Swati Joshi. Swati Joshi will of course translate the charge sheet for us, but I want to go across first to Siddhant. Siddhant, our reporter who's accessed the charge sheet, who got through to the Pune Police Commissioner. And Siddhant, first let me congratulate you for accessing the biggest story, the biggest news break, and what a job you've done. And Siddhant, I want to get to the basic point today. When you spoke to the Pune Police Commissioner, the questions that have been raised in the Supreme Court by all of those supporting this so-called urban Naxals group have questioned the fact that will this evidence hold water, and is there evidence in the first place to actually prove the points that the Pune police have put down in the charge sheet. What did the Pune police commissioner tell you?
Well, this is the only valid question that even the people are asking, that whether these evidences have any value or whether these evidences are fabricated, as these are the allegations made by certain sections of the society. But I would like to clarify at this point that from the very first day when I was investigating, I was involved in this case and I was going through all the detail, my first question to the cops was the same, that how important these evidences are, and how will you able to prove before the court. So their reply is that at the time of the raids in the houses of all the accused, proper videography was done and all these electronic devices and hard disks were seized, and later they were immediately sent to FSL lab. After few days they received the entire report from the FSL, which is called as clone copies. So they received these clone copies, and then after coming to certain conclusion in the investigation, the arrests were made after good 2 months, that is in the month of June, and now finally these people have been charge sheeted. So this is very important to understand that even Supreme Court also refused to entertain the time this issue was brought in Supreme Court, that these evidences are fabricated, they are planted by the cops. So this is very important to understand that these evidences are from the hard disk of Rona Wilson. These hard disks were sent to FSL lab, and from there the letters, all these letters, clone copies, was sent to Pune police, and then this investigation started. So it is very important for all the viewers to understand that these are the FSL clone copies. And just right before this bulletin, I was talking to some people in Pune police, and they have reconfirmed this to me, that we have attached the entire FSL report in the charge sheet of 5,160 pages, and the entire FSL report is a proof in that charge sheet, and that FSL report is a part of that charge sheet. So they have again reconfirmed to me that FSL report is a part of a charge sheet. So they have this as a concrete evidence against all these 5 accused.
So the forensic report is the clincher, and that report is a part of the charge sheet. Coming across to you, Swati Joshi. And Swati, point 17.13 of the charge sheet, that's the operative part. Can you tell us, what does this part say, first in Marathi, and translate it for our viewers into English?
Well, yes, definitely. I have that part of the charge sheet which talks about the assassination plot of the Prime Minister, the most important part here. And of course, it is in Marathi, so I'm just going to read it out and later translate it for our viewers as well. सदर गुन्ह्यातील आरोपी क्रमांक 2 रोना विल्सन व CPI माओवादी या प्रतिबंधित संघटनेचा ERB, which here means Eastern Regional Bureau, या समितीचा सचिव व केंद्रीय समिती सदस्य आरोपी किशन दा उर्फ प्रशांत बोस व त्याचे सोबत सदर संघटनेच्या इतर भूमिगत सदस्यांनी भारताचे पंतप्रधान. Now here, this is the most important part where they are talking about the assassination plot. भारताचे पंतप्रधान यांच्या हत्येचा कट रचल्याचे, तसेच लोकशाही शासन व्यवस्था व भारतीय नागरिक यांच्या विरुद्ध युद्ध पुकारण्याचा प्रतिबंधित संघटनेचा व्यापक कट कारस्थानाचा भाग म्हणून व त्या उद्देशाने अवैध हत्यार व दारुगोळा मिळवण्याचा प्रक्रियेमध्ये सक्रिय सहभाग घेतल्याचे निष्पन्न झाले आहे.
So Swati, from what I can understand, they have said we should declare war against democracy. It's a call for war against democracy by a plot to assassinate the Prime Minister. Isn't that what the charge sheet says?
Well, absolutely. That's exactly what the charge sheet here says, that there was a plot to assassinate the Prime Minister. It talks in detail about who those plotters were, how they were hatching a conspiracy, and they were also helping out this banned organization by procuring illegal arms and ammunition for them to fulfill their agenda.
Well, that's the plot. That's the plot. Wage war by assassinating the Prime Minister, wage war against democracy. Thank you, Swati. Thank you, Siddhant. Great job, Siddhant. And keep the big job going on, because this story is going to take a few twists and turns. And on the news hour tonight, my legitimate question: will the lobby now continue to question the Prime Minister's assassination plot? Will they still question it? Because that was their basic defense in the courts. And that's the question we ask on the big debate. Plot to kill the PM charge. That's The big debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Dr. Sambit Patra, national spokesperson of the BJP, Monica Arora, advocate, Surbi Hodigire, contributor to Swarajya, Dr. John Dayal, human rights activist, PL Vishweshwar Rao, Osmania University, Abdul Razak Khan, political analyst, and Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst. But first, to our segment that's called The Standpoint, where Dr. Sambit Patra takes on Dr. John Dayal. Dr. John Dayal, straightforward, plot to wage war against India by assassinating the Prime Minister and overthrowing democracy. Is that the plot that you support? Because you can change the Prime Minister every 5 years in this country through democratic means by holding elections. But can we allow and support a move to allow a war against democracy? Dr. John Dayal.
Of course not. But let me first begin by wishing Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi a very long life and good health, even if I work to ensure that he is defeated in the next general elections. You don't have to wait 5 years to defeat prime ministers. Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee had a 13-day regime, had a 13-month regime, and a 5-year regime. So, but it's a democratic way, and we support democracy. Apropos of this particularly utterly ridiculous thing, when the so-called transcript was found in the so-called laptops or whatever of R. Wilson, as you say, Comrade R, as you say, at that time itself, many forensic journalists, senior journalists like Editor Jha, they had pointed out ridiculous anomalies in that letter. And till today, nobody has been able to explain why does that say so. What is Comrade R? Is this the way people plot? I mean, if they do, even in a Sherlock Holmes novel, is that how they plot? The 5,000 pages that have now been disclosed just aggravate the situation. They are just adding on 1,000 pages for one false point. The 5 charges under which these people face this charge sheet and face the court, which will totally, I'm sure, absolve them, are basically that they're members of a banned organization, basically that they've allegedly financed organizations. There is no specific charge of their conspiracy in the alleged plot of violence.
Your time's up. The judgment by Justice Dayal has been given, Dr. Sambit Patra. Your counter.
Chief Justice.
Navika, I'm appalled. First, I begin by congratulating your channel and your reporters for the commendable job that they have done. But I'm appalled because of the fact that on a serious issue like this, a plot to assassinate the Prime Minister, we still have people defending it. We still have people who try to defend the left-wing extremism over here. Astonishingly, Mr. John Dayal speaks that this is a Sherlock Holmes story. No, sir. I mean, I have heard the report what Navika gave out. It is based on scientific evidence. These 5,000 pages speaks about the clone copies which went through the hammers of the FSL, that is a forensic scientific laboratory. So naturally, all these have been examined. This is a serious issue. And remember, these were the very people, the Congress party and the likes of Mr. John Dayal, who tried to ridicule this plot of assassination when the letter that we are talking about was unearthed. And in this letter we had seen as to how the Congress party giving out financial aid and legal help to these people who were plotting an assassination against the Prime Minister, in fact, was out. And very recently we had seen the Congress party, while they had addressed a press conference in Chhattisgarh, saying that, well, these Maoists are nothing but Krantikaris. These are revolutionists. And remember, the letter spoke categorically about a middleman, that Jignesh Mevani would be the person through whom these financial and legal helps would be given out of the Congress party to the Maoists. And today, when in Madhya Pradesh, I am today stationed in Madhya Pradesh, Congress party is using the help of the likes of Jignesh Mevani, Kanhaiya Kumar, etc. to promote its cause. Is this what Indian politics has reduced itself to? 2 Prime Ministers of this country were lost because of such acts. Astonishing the Congress is not realizing this. Thirdly and very importantly, as far as just a second, sir. As far as violence is concerned, remember Mr. Varavara.
Your time is up,
I'll
Dr.
just take 10
Sambit
more
Patra, and
seconds,
I'm
Navika,
opening
if
up
you
the
permit me,
debate. I'm
because I
opening
was
up the debate.
interjecting.
Hands are going up across the panel. Tehseen Poonawalla.
My good friend Dr. Sambit Patra, while he talks about left-wing extremism and he speaks about the Congress, he forgets that the Red Terror came down in the era of the Congress. It's the only recorded data proof that Red Terror has come down. In 2010, while Red Terror was coming down, the Red Corridor was coming down, one gentleman in Gujarat was making a statement that Naxals are our own people. That gentleman was then the Chief Minister of Gujarat, now the Prime Minister of India. Raman Singh on May 2015 said, "Jo ye Naxalwadi, ye to hamari mitti ke bacche hai." Today he is the Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh. So you can continue to blame the Congress. However, on 8th November, Prime Minister Modi said demonetization should end Naxalism. What happened since then is Naxalism increased by new records, and we will not get into that. The question that remains to be asked out here is the life of our Prime Minister, like John Dayal rightly said, is very, very important because the Congress has sacrificed 2 Prime Ministers, as is the country. But please tell us that if Prime Minister Narendra Modi's life is so much under threat, why is Pune police filing these charge sheets which says, and in this charge sheets, because I also understand Marathi, it says that weapons was to be recovered, and in court it says that please understand weapons from Nepal never came because that never happened. So how was weapons recovered? Number one. And last point, in the same Pune police in the Supreme Court says that please understand that these Naxals, urban Naxals, are not in charge of the violence. It is Modi ji's friends Bhede and Ekbote who are responsible for the violence. In Supreme Court, Pune police has said that. So the Pune police is playing politics, and under Narendra Modi ji, one more institution has been ruined.
Dr. Sambit Patra, respond to him before I go across to the other panelists.
Navika, customarily these Congress spokespersons in fact come out and say that, well, yes, the Prime Minister's life is extremely precious, but very slyly and through tangential route, they start questioning the very plot and start giving some kind of protection, stand for the defense of these urban Maoists. Remember what Mr. Rahul Gandhi had tweeted the day these 5 urban Naxalites in fact were arrested. Mr. Rahul Gandhi had said that they are the biggest NGO. RSS is not just the NGO. These 5 people worked for the welfare of the country, and they are the NGOs. Despite the fact that, remember, Mr. Vara Vara Rao in one of his statements had categorically stated that, well, we stand for armed revolution, we stand to fight against Indian democracy, and for that we are raising platoons of Red Army. These were the exact sentences of Mr. Vara Vara Rao, who had been arrested and for whom Mr. Rahul Gandhi was acting as a lawyer, as a spokesperson. Astonishingly, the Congress party has today reduced itself to a fringe player.
If they are out to destroy our country, you have given my friend Jignesh and my friend Kanaya that great security. You still not have the guts to file a case against them, and you hold charge sheet as a final piece of evidence. May I remind you humbly, sir,
but you
that your president had a charge sheet against him. He was honorably discharged.
Had dared the Pune police that you don't have a fig of
they
evidence.
Don't have evidence.
They filed a 5,000 page charge sheet. This is not evidence.
This is covered.
May I pull out my fact check? May I pull out my fact check? And I'm going across to Monica Arora. My fact check number 1. Just hear the words of what they said. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, a senior counsel, somebody who's a senior leader of the Congress party, what did he say in the Supreme Court? He said, why is Pune police and not NIA involved in probing alleged plot to assassinate the Prime Minister? Sanjay Nirupam of the Congress said, plot to divert attention from Bhima Koregaon probe. Sharad Pawar of the NCP said, BJP losing mass appeal, plot to garner sympathy for Prime Minister Modi. Jignesh Mevani, Gujarat MLA, says, false narrative of Prime Minister Modi assassination bid. And Harish Dhawan, activist, says, it's a false case by government with a malified investigation. So, Monica Arora, they can call it a malified investigation, they can call it a charge sheet without any evidence, but they will not wait for the trial to begin. They will not find fault with the fact that there was hard disks that have been got. They will not actually agree to the fact that there is forensic reports that exist. All of that scientific details the Pune police has submitted.
Navika, this lobby will not believe. This lobby will always question. This lobby will use the constitutional processes, the legal framework, the due process of law to sabotage the very process they swear on. They'll destroy everything. You see, when your times now, they disclosed this report that there was a serious plot of assassination of the Prime Minister of this country, this lobby laughed. They were suspicious about Times Now report. Thereafter, 5 activists, including Romila Thapar, they went to Supreme Court saying these activists have been arrested. They are simple activists. They are arrested for right to dissent. The police filed affidavit in the court stating they are active members of CPIM Maoist banned organization who are waging war against the country. These people are buying weapons. They are out to destroy the nation. Thereafter, Supreme Court went through all those papers, and Supreme Court also stated that prima facie evidence exists that these activists are involved in serious criminal offences, and hence they must be investigated, they must be interrogated. But still the lobby will not believe. Now today the charge sheet has been filed. Charge sheet is filed. We have all the evidence with us.
Professor Vishweshwar Rao, I'm coming to you. What the Supreme Court said was the said proceedings shall be decided on its own merits, uninfluenced by any observation made in this judgment, which is limited to the release claimed in the writ petition to transfer the investigation to an independent investigating agencies and or court monitored investigation. But the Supreme Court did not allow.
The Supreme Court says she's lied and she's misled the people of India. You've been right, Naonika ma'am. This is absolutely not expected of a senior person.
All right. The Supreme Court also stated that this is not about right to dissent. They are, there is prima facie evidence that they have serious criminal charges against them.
The issue here is, was this about right to dissent? Professor Vishweshwar Rao, now with this charge sheet, Professor Rao.
We are talking about democratic rights of this country. We are not talking, outside the framework of the Constitution.
Professor Rao, all this while the case that was being made out
within the framework of the Constitution of this country.
Professor Rao, all this while the case that was being made out is that because certain people are dissenting with the government in power, their voices are being throttled. Now with this charge sheet, will you say that that argument has been completely rubbish?
Where are they? These charges have got to be proved. These are only 5,000 pages charges. There's something called the Indian Evidence Act. Where is the evidence?
But the fact
evidence has to be there.
But the fact is the Pune police is putting the charges on a piece of paper and taking your dare to prove these charges, sir.
We still say assassination of the Prime Minister is a serious matter. It has to be investigated. Charges have got to be proved. There has to be substantial evidence. Do not come to any kind of a conclusion or assessment.
Surbi Holiday, isn't he stating the obvious? Obviously, when charges are framed and submitted in a court of law, the evidence will have to follow, the charges will have to be proved. That's a given. That's a given. The point is, this lobby tried to intimidate. With the atmospherics that they created, they tried to intimidate the Pune police by saying that you don't have the evidence, don't go any further. Now that we've created such a scene in New Delhi, we've not even allowed you proper arrest. So, now beware. The Pune police has called off their bluff and they've gone and put in a charge sheet, putting the plot to assassinate Prime Minister Modi on paper with the evidence.
Navika, may I just say that I'm surprised that a panelist on your show is saying that it is definitely, sir, if you please let me speak, sir, please. I'm quite surprised that a panelist on your program is saying to us today that a plot to assassinate the Prime Minister must be taken seriously, when on the other side they have been discrediting, humiliating and just, really asking the Pune police, what have you got? Why are you even bringing this up? Why would an institution, sir, we have trust in our institutions. You may go on harping this, Modi government is taking away the autonomy, ruining institutions, but we have trust in our institutions. No no police would go ahead and file charge sheet unless and until they believe that there is substantial evidence, unless they believe that they can make their case. But I must say, one second, I'm still speaking.
The conviction rate of Pune police charge sheet is 2.7% and CBI under Narendra Modi ji is 3.1%. Go ahead and make your point,
please.
but let me explain to you what your point was. 2.7% Pune police.
As much as you want to keep harping about institutions being, their autonomy being taken away,
destroyed by Narendra Modi.
Oh yes,
Modi government.
Nehru and Indira Gandhi saved institutions in 1975.
Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Vajpayee,
Oh yes,
Chandrasekhar, VP Singh, all great men who walked this, who walked for our country, who walked this for our country.
Let's not go that road.
Using them, manipulating them, and then they have the guts to say that institutions are
one
being denied
question.
autonomy.
Why is no assassination plot of then Chief Minister Narendra Modi so far solved? Now Prime Minister Narendra Modi solved. Why do you trust Pune police? Please ask NIA to stop doing large-scale investigations and investigate this. You say that weapons were recovered. Where are the weapons? Then you say in court weapons are in Nepal. How did you recover the weapons? Please explain. Simple questions. From Ishrat Jahan to today, every single so-called assassination plan,
Dr. Sambit Patra is raising his hand. Dr. Sambit Patra. Dr. Sambit Patra. Question mark over the investigation. They want the world to stop and take a deep breath because the charges had just been submitted in court, not proved. But they will not take a deep breath for investigations and evidences to be put in court. That they are not willing to wait for. But they're willing to go in and question every step of the way the investigation agency.
Navika, ironically and astonishingly, on an issue on which we should not have two sides, on which we all should be standing on the same side, that well, yes, democracy should be saved, and a plot to assassinate the Prime Minister is absolutely condemnable. I am astonished that we have still two sides. Astonishingly, some people have been questioning that before the conviction, since still the case is in the court, how can we have a debate and how can we put some people on a tight spot? By the same logic, why were you giving a clean chit to the same people even before the court case is over?
Because the legal jurisprudence is you are innocent until proven guilty, sir.
While the same
That's basic democracy and law.
Mr. Tehseen,
Sorry,
Mr. Tehseen, I never speak when you speak, Mr. Tehseen. You are a young man.
Sir,
I respect you. This is not the way of debating, Tehseen.
Please continue,
please, Mr. Tehseen, don't shout in the middle. I have a very bad audio. I would still wait. Please, thank you so much for your... Thank you for your apology. Please let me complete and thereafter you can rebut. Navika, you have to understand the idea. Yes, thank you. Navika, you have to understand certain thing over here, and I appreciate the word that you have used, this word lobby. There is a very strong lobby. Let me take just 10 seconds to speak about how important this lobby is and how this lobby has been trying to mainstream not only the Maoists, the separatists, and some of the terror organizations in this country. I'll give you an example. Navika. Remember Dr. Binayak Sen, despite the fact that he was convicted by the courts of the country, we had seen Sonia Gandhi's NAC in fact bringing up Mr. Dr. Binayak Sen into planning commission of this country, and a very important position, a coveted position was kept for Binayak Sen. You remember A. Padma, the wife of Hargopal, one of the most dreaded Maoists. This Hargopal had kidnapped Koraput's district collector. Odisha's Koraput district collector was kidnapped. And then, despite all this, wife of Ikaraju Hargopal, Padma, was adjusted in NAC of Sonia Gandhi. So why do you want to mainstream?
They have to convince
Mr. Firoz, you are not aware of the fact that 4 of these 5 people who have been arrested today were arrested by the UPA government also. Mr. Firoz Khan, you are not aware of the facts. Let me enlighten you with the fact that the UPA government in the yesteryears had arrested 4 of these 5 people.
And before I go to Mr. Abdul Razak Khan, I want to put out a few facts. I want to put out a few facts of the observations and the order of the Supreme Court and what they observed. May I please put out what the Supreme Court said? The Supreme Court, and Abdul Razak Khan, hear these very carefully. They said this is not a case of malicious prosecution. This is what the Supreme Court said. They said accused can't choose the probing agency. They also said arrest not due to dissent against government. Prima facie link with banned Maoists exists. These are the observations of the Supreme Court. Now, Abdul Razak Khan, why are
Navika, we
you,
are
Dr.
discussing
John
the
Dayal,
plot to kill
Professor
Prime Minister.
Vishweshwar Rao
That is the
in such a
allegation of
hurry
these people.
to give the clean
If that
chit?
was to be the case, why hasn't the NIA taken over?
Because Amit
Why
Shah was a
hasn't the
clean
NIA
chit.
taken over the case?
Remember.
Why is it still lying with the Pune police? You should also remember that the Maharashtra High Court has reprimanded the Pune police for bringing out press conference after press conference. They have to convince the court, not the people of the nation.
This
We have
is
seen the way this was
absolutely
managed.
buncombe. I'm
Where are the
astonished
actual
that we
perpetrators
still have
of Bhima
people
Koregaon
standing with the
violence?
Maoist
Why are they
terrorists and
still at large?
separatists.
Defending it.
Why they have
Against
Look at
no
any- there was
the
a
country
clean
should look
cut
at
of
the
the
real
case
face
now.
of these people tonight.
And
I'm
NIA
astonished
So your
that
frustration
people
is
like
that-
Mr.
No, no,
Razak
your
Khan,
frustration
people like
is
John
that-
I'm
Dayal
not
still
frustrated.
still
The fact
stand
is even in the Justice Loya case, the
in
same
favor of
lobby
these
went
Maoist,
against Amit
Naxalist,
Shah.
separatist
Are you
As I told
frustrated
you,
because
the
that
only lobby
petition was
is
also
the
thrown
one
out,
that
Dr.
exists.
John Dayal?
The only
Is that
lobby
your frustration?
is the one that wants to buy Rafale so that Mr. Ambani can benefit. That is the only lobby. Here we are talking of criminal cases, and I want to tell you, because you keep on saying,
My
we
God,
have lost
these
to Prime
po-
Minister.
No,
We also lost
Navika,
the
these
father
people
of the
will
nation.
obfuscate
The ideology
very serious topic
kills.
as these.
The only
I will
ideology we
henceforth
know
call
is
Mr.
this.
John
We
Dayal
know
as a
it.
TV Maoist.
We
There are urban
police
Maoists
is
and there are
using
TV
it
Maoists
against
also. We have
that
TV
kills in
Maoists
India.
in a John Dayal.
Precisely. We know which is the
John
killer.
Dayal, I henceforth re-christine you as TV Maoist. You are TV Maoist.
And you are a proper spokesperson
And Razak Khan,
of
I
the
re-christine
party
as TV
whose
separatist.
backers
TV
killed Mahatma
separatist
Gandhi.
and TV
You are
Maoist
the appropriate
trying to stand with the
spokesman.
lobby.
They have chosen well by presenting you
Mahatma
as
Gandhi.
their mouthpiece.
No, where does Mahatma Gandhi
This
come in
is
this
where
debate?
we
Sir,
are-
you have been caught
National
red-handed.
Security
In
Advisor,
front of the
Dr.
country you
BJP.
stand exposed today.
Karnataka,
I am
you
astonished
are
that
BJP,
despite
you
the fact
are
that we have a
not people of
5,000
other
page charge
parties.
sheet,
We
despite
have
the
seen
fact that there is
misuse
a
of
case
office of
going
power,
on against
which
these people,
assassinated
despite the fact that
Central
these
Bureau
people
of
have been
Investigation
previously arrested,
has become
you
the
all
Central
stand
Bureau of
with
Investigation.
you all
You don't
stand
want
with
that.
the Naxals,
Whose
you all
statue
stand
you
with
just want
the
to
Maoists,
overshadow.
you
What a
stand with
man,
the
what a
separatist
man.
forces of this country.
You are the Tukre
You are
Tukre
the
gang.
only
You
proud
are
citizen
divided.
of this
Oh, you are
country.
calling him the Tukre
He
Tukre
is
gang.
the Tukre Tukre
We
gang.
have seen how it
Oh
was
my
dead
God.
managed.
Those
The
who
Tukre
used to
Tukre
live in
gang
jail.
calling others
They
Tukre
have given
Tukre
them
gang.
great security.
Just look at
They have
him.
given my friend Kanhaiya and Jagnesh security. They give them all the benefits
Now
and
the
luxury.
convictions
They have
will be
given
based on
separatists
bits
in
of
Kashmir
paper.
security.
Maoists will be addressing people
main separatist
with their
Hurriyat,
first
they
names.
broke Hurriyat, they broke all laws and gave his grandson a job. They say Istil Shah Gilani. These guys are out to break the country. They broke it when the British were ruling. They're doing it now. Please answer one question. Our Honorable Prime Minister says urban Maoists are people who travel in imported cars, whose kids study abroad and live in AC houses. Now Manoj Tiwari has an imported car. Meenakshi Lekhi has an imported car. This is from National Herald. All their kids are studying abroad. I mean, I'm just wondering. Hema Malini's
Oh
kids
my
study
God.
abroad.
So then, let's not take it.
So then
You
you
don't
doesn't
have
he
to
understand
ask
this is
me.
the
Are you
So
saying
why not
other
allow-
politicians don't have imported cars?
When
No,
Honorable
are you
Prime
saying
Minister
those
reduces
individuals are not in the
when the Honorable
studios?
Prime
Those
Minister
individuals who you
to
named
sa-
are not
Mr.
in the
Modi,
studios.
yes,
I
so
ask
many
you a
jumlas.
Yes,
counter
ma'am.
question.
I have an
Other
imported car.
politicians,
Navi-
I have
are
standard
other
car.
Navika, I
politicians
would like
in
to
this
ask
country,
Mr.
don't
Modi.
they
I
have
have.
imported
So am
cars?
I an urban Maoist? This is what the discourse has been reduced to under the BJP. They have
Mr.
no substance. They only
I'll
want to
answer
spread
that.
hate
I'll
and
answer
spread
that.
fear that there is some sort
I
of
want to
threat.
ask one
You
question.
asked
So
an
many
Monica
Navika,
Arora,
please be
Monica
done.
Arora.
This is part of the debate.
So many jumlas, we don't know when he's not using a jumla.
Monica
what is being
Arora,
reduced
I
to.
want to ask you, will they want to take this debate to a ridiculous level, Monica
It's a ridiculous
Arora?
debate.
Or
Who
will
started
they
it?
answer the
Why
moot
is the
question?
BJP soft
Can
and BJP
anybody
is
be
actually-
allowed to wage a war against the democratic
Monica?
setup in our country?
No.
Isn't that what
We
these
must observe
urban
the rule of
Naxals
law.
were trying to do?
Are we observing the rule of law? Are we obeying the Supreme Court?
Allow her
Whether-
to answer.
No,
Allow
I'm-
her to answer.
I'm asking her.
Navika, I will just quote letter of Sudha Bharadwaj, which said that we have to give a package to Naxalites on the lines of stone pelters of Kashmir, defend the enemy of ours, that is Indian Army and India itself. Show that they are human
Where are you
rights
reading
break us.
Monica
Everything
Arora,
is social media.
Where are you
This is
quoting
that
this
Sudha
from?
Bharadwaj
I don't
letter.
know. Is this
that Sudha Bharadwaj
authenticated?
letter.
Is this
This is fake news.
authenticated?
This
is
is
your
fake
view.
news. This is
This
fake
is
news.
not-
She's filed a defamation case against a news channel that
These
carried it.
letters were part of the Pune
Oh,
police
please.
investigation. Pune police had released these letters, Navika.
Not this one.
In which the links between
quote
Naxals
from
and Kashmiri
places
militants
where
were
it's
there
not
in the open.
authenticated, Monica Arora, because we don't know if this is really
All right.
attributable to
Navika,
her.
this was from Pune police investigation.
But then it should be part of, the time should be showing
no,
it.
no. The channel.
But one
the,
thing more,
the
may I
channel
say
doesn't-
here,
the
Navika?
channel doesn't really take responsibility for that statement, Monica Arora. But the question I'm asking, the basic charge that has been made out, the basic charge that has been made out is the fact that Rona Wilson and the disk that was recovered from his computer had the plot. And point number 17.13 in the charge sheet says that there was a elaborate plan to assassinate the Prime Minister, to subvert the democratic system, to wage a war against the democratic system. Now, is that something that the larger intellectual urban Naxal lobby can actually defend?
Actually, Navika,
can I
if you
please come
see
in
that
over here?
these panelists here are talking about various political parties, but you see these urban Naxals,
not show
they are
fake
against
news
the
on
idea of
genuine news.
India.
Times now.
They are waging a war against this country as such. They will not bother about Congress or BJP. Remember in Chhattisgarh, Mahendra Karma and his entire group of people, they were killed in the most merciless manner. Why? Not because they were Congress or BJP, but just because they were part of India.
Because the
so
Prime
basically,
Minister, when he was
these
CM,
urban
the CM,
Naxals
when he was CM,
who
owns of
provide
the mosque,
leadership,
the
who provide
CM of
resources,
Chhattisgarh
who
is the sole
provide
beneficiary.
weapons and ideological leadership
No BJP
to
person has
these
ever been attacked.
gun-wielding
Exactly.
Naxals in the tribal
No BJP
areas.
person has been attacked.
Who
Absolutely.
support these Naxals in the tribal
Communists
areas?
have been
They
killed
are
there by
against the
Mao.
idea of the country.
Congressmen
They
have
don't
been
want
wiped
this
out by
country
Mao.
to
This is
survive.
person of BJP
So I
person.
always
Only-
say,
only
when the
capitalists and BJP
JNU,
are never
certain
touched.
students said,
I mean, what kind of a statement is that?
That
Are
is
you
a-
saying
I am-
you
I am-
wish
I
upon the
am-
BJP
I
that
am
they should be
saying-
wiped out by the Maoists?
I am saying.
Are you saying
I
that,
am
Dr.
saying
John Dayal?
that
That's
only
a
the
preposterous
Congress.
statement.
No, the Congress is the only political party which has nearly been wiped out by the Maoists. The Communist Party of India and the
Navika,
others
can
have
I
been the
please
target
come
of
in?
Maoists. That's what I'm saying. The parties
Dr.
that are
Sambit
benefited.
Patra,
Come, Sambit
the
Patra.
charge is being made that the
How is it
Congress,
15 years
the
in power?
CPIM have been
Why is it
wiped
not
out
wiped out?
and have been targeted by the Maoists. The BJP is not.
Explain
Which is
that.
why
Explain that.
you
Explain
are
that.
probably, the insinuation is
There's no
the
insinuation.
BJP,
It's a blank statement of fact.
the
There's no
BJP
insinuation.
is mixed up with the Maoists.
It's not an
Respond to him,
insinuation.
Dr. Sambit Patra,
Just
that's a
tell us
huge
why
charge.
the attacks are on the Congress and on the Communist Party of India.
Only if Mr. John Dayal stops. Okay, thank you, sir. No, if the Congress Party and the CPIM are the ones who have been charged, who have been attacked by the Maoists, I believe there is more so the reason as to why these parties should not stand in defense of such forces. The reason more so as to why they should not be keeping petty politics in the center of issue and attacking Bharatiya Janata Party. This is more reason more so as to
No, but
why
I
they should
don't
not be
answer the
speaking
question.
against the
More
Pune
jumlas
police
from
and the
you.
FSL laboratories. Rather, they should
Go
stand with the
up
Supreme Court
beyond
of the
the
country.
jumlas.
John Dayal, please
Tell us,
don't
explain us
hyperventilate.
why.
Let me complete.
Why is
Let
Congress
me tell you.
targeted there?
Let
Why
me
is the
expose
CPI
Navika.
attacked
Let me expose these forces, Navika. Navika, these forces, when they question the Bharatiya Janata Party's commitment, when these, just a second,
Why
when
only
these,
Congresses are killed?
Tehseen, please,
Yes,
did I
sir.
speak
Yes,
when you were
sir.
speaking?
I
Please,
agree.
Tehseen.
Yes, sir.
Tehseen, let me complete.
Ji, sir. Boliye.
Just a second. Navika, I have a very important point which I want to make over here. These are the very forces which, despite the fact, the lobby that you say, this is the very lobby which, despite the fact that three layers of judiciary, Yaqub Memon's petition went through and thereafter he was given a death penalty. This was the very lobby which said that Yaqub Memon was
Just because
hanged
it is Sanatan
because
Sanskar.
because he was a
Hanging.
Muslim.
I
This is
would
the
have
very
opposed
lobby.
Nathura
This
Ghosh
is the
hanging
very
if I
lobby
were
which said
old
that
Sambit
Afzal
Patra,
Guru was a
people from
judicial
Sanatan
killing.
Sanstha were
Afzal
caught
Guru
with
was a
live
judicial
bombs,
killing.
explosives.
So naturally, this is the very
Detonators.
lobby. John
What happened to that
Dayal and
investigation?
Mr. Razak Khan.
But the
These
Pune
are the
police
parts of the
helped
very
from these
lobby
people
which
to
stand
get caught
against
with
the
bills of
democracy of
lading.
this country. They never
What is the
stand
point
for
of
the
it?
Why
democracy of
is
this
the
country.
central government soft on BJP
No, is it not
sympathizers?
true, Mr.
I
John
can boldly jumla
Dayal?
that
Then
time.
is it
Come
not true,
clear.
Mr. John Dayal, that you
I will
stood for
oppose
Yaqub
hanging,
Memon?
even if
No,
there's an
is it
RSS
not true,
involvement.
Mr. John Dayal, that you stood for Mr. Yaqub Memon?
I did not stand.
That
I
despite the
opposed
fact that
hanging.
Supreme Court had
You
ordered his
are
hanging, you
government
were the ones who
soft
were
on
shouting that
Sanatan
John
Sanstha.
Dayal was hanged because he was
Their
a
office,
Muslim.
I think you
live
deserve
bombs,
So
to
naturally,
State.
you are the lobbies. You
You
are the
deserve
people who are the
detonators were
lobbies
caught.
who, in
You
the name
excel.
of tolerance, who, in the name of democracy, in fact, has been
are
eating into
confused.
India's democracy like
You haven't a
termites.
clue
So
how
this
people
lobby
can
is a
oppose
termite.
hanging.
This lobby
You
is a
are
termite,
so
I would say.
bloodthirsty.
This lobby should
You
be
are
called
so
as a hyena.
bloodthirsty. You
The
cannot
hyena which
understand.
feeds
Dr.
into
John
the
Dayal,
flesh
you
which
are so
this
bloodthirsty.
so much
hyena is
milk
the-
of human
this
kindness
hyena
for a
Absolutely.
terrorist.
Of course they are.
into the flesh of this
But no,
country.
no kindness for
The
an
hyenas.
assassination plot for
Shameless
the elected
hyenas.
prime
I
minister
have
of the
wished the
country.
Prime
democracy of this
Minister
country.
long and healthy life.
But you've also
in retirement.
but you've also said the investigation is a fraud investigation.
Yeah, so we deserve a better investigation.
These are just
we
customary
deserve
niceties,
a
nothing
forensic
else.
investigation.
They've
we
done
deserve
that.
These are
They've
just
done that.
customary
You
niceties
don't even
that
want
wish
to wait.
good for the
Which
Prime
Professor
Minister.
Give us the
Vishweshwar
They
Rao,
want to
Professor
defend all those
Vishweshwar
who are
Rao,
plotting
Professor
assassination of the
Vishweshwar
Prime
Rao,
Minister.
shouldn't you wait for this investigation?
Where is the RSS getting their money from? How are they destabilizing institutions in India?
Havala, ask me.
What is the
I
kind
know
of RSS?
Havala
What is the kind of
Vishweshwar Rao is
RSS
also
they
one
are
of
playing
them.
in India?
What do you
Look at the
expect
jail
of him?
diaries. Havala racket, you know that.
Oh,
Ask Sampit.
But demonetization was supposed to end all
Who
this.
is
What
one of
happened?
those? We are
Not
talking
for the
about
RSS.
constitution.
Acha.
We are talking about democratic rights. We are talking about the people's rights.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about
Sampit,
people's rights,
tell
democratic
us
rights and
the only
constitution,
question
you
that
talk
I
about
have.
Professor Rao is also one of them. What do you
Surbi,
expect of him?
the lady wants to
These
make a
people
point.
will only
Surbi.
ridicule, they will
John
not
Dayal was
understand
talking
the
about
seriousness
people
of
are
the issue.
not
Someone was
killing
talking
the
about imported
CPIM
cars.
people. In fact,
Just
CPIM
imagine,
is
Tessie
killing
Poonawala
nationalists in
talking about
Kerala.
imported cars.
Every day you are stifling your voice.
What is that?
You are on the wrong debate, man.
What is
Every
that?
day you are stifling your
Surbi
voice.
wants to make a point. Yes,
it
Surbi.
gives more reason for the Congress and CPIM. I think it gives more reason for those who are part of the Congress, CPIM and larger ecosystem to take the assassination plot like this a little bit more seriously and stop siding with those such as Rona Wilson.
What are our viewers saying tonight? What are our viewers saying tonight? Our viewers tonight are saying, Tushar says, all those who are defending the lobby plotting to assassinate Prime Minister Modi should be treated in complicity with the plotters and punished accordingly. Lakshman says, a plot to assassinate Prime Minister is absolutely condemnable. Raghav says, super sensational disclosure, diabolical plot against India should be punished at all costs. Shaurya says, why is... All right, I can't read this. Not very complimentary language for those who are saying this. Rajendra Sharma says...
However vulgar it is, it will be better than Sampit Patra's. Read us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one question. Will the lobby continue to defend those arrested by the Pune police as activists even now after this diabolical plot has been unveiled? And the one question I want to ask is, arrested were not merely Maoist sympathizers but active participants in an alleged terror plot. That's the charge that's been made by the Pune police. Will the charge hold? Will those who support these so-called urban Naxals continue to be in denial? That's the question, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on this big debate. Plot to kill Modi charge. Taking a short break. The clash coming up next.